Welcome to Awakened Pursuit. In this 10-part series, we'll journey through my personal story of how ignoring God's guidance in relationships led me down a path I never expected. Through moments of hesitation, missed signs, and choices rooted in disobedience, I learned firsthand the emotional and spiritual consequences of straying from God's plan. But as you'll see, there is always hope, healing, and restoration when we turn back to Him. This series is a heartfelt call to consider God's voice in every decision, especially in our relationships, and to understand the life-changing importance of obeying His guidance rather than following our own desires. My prayer is that this series will encourage you to spend more time with God, building a relationship that brings real peace, purpose, and joy, rather than chasing temporary gains. Let God guide your path instead of focusing only on material pursuits. He knows the plans He has for you, and they're full of promise and fulfillment. If this resonates with you, please subscribe to Awakened Pursuit and click the bell icon for notifications so you won't miss any part of this journey. Let's walk together in faith, obedience, and the freedom that only God can provide.
You're running fast, chasing dreams that never last. But child, I'm calling, can't you see? It's time you spend your time with me. Fear God alone, let worship rise. Serve His purpose, open your eyes. Awaken hearts, pursue what's true. I'm waiting here to be with you. Spend time with me, don't rush away. I'm here to walk with you.
Welcome to episode 9 on Awakened Pursuit. As a young Christian girl, godly relationship was at the top on the list of my prayer points. I used to think finding the right person was the goal, but God gently nudged me to become the right person instead. Are you ready for a relationship, or are you simply yearning for companionship? In this episode, Preparing My Heart for a Godly Relationship, we'll explore how to position yourself for a Christ-centered relationship by preparing spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with someone who needs encouragement on their journey.
Working hard, you're running fast, chasing dreams that never last. But child,
I used to believe that finding the right person would solve everything: loneliness, insecurity, even my sense of purpose. I was busy drafting a checklist for my future partner. I thought preparing for a godly relationship meant looking for someone perfect. At some point, I had to ask myself, was I ready for the kind of relationship God desired for me? Or was I just hoping someone would complete me? It didn't take long before I learned that no relationship could fill the void that only God is meant to fill. I discovered this truth the hard way. Stumbling through heartbreaks and disappointments, God showed me that instead of looking for someone to walk with, I needed to let Him teach me how to stand firm on my own. The story of Ruth comes to mind. In Ruth 3:11, Boaz describes Ruth as a woman of noble character. What's remarkable about Ruth is that she wasn't out chasing love. After losing her husband, she devoted herself to God and to caring for Naomi, her mother-in-law. Ruth's faithfulness and integrity prepared her for the relationship God had ordained for her. A godly relationship means letting God be the gardener. He had to prune a few branches before planting new seeds. Like Ruth, I realized that preparing for a godly relationship starts with building your own foundation in Christ. I learned that if my heart wasn't fully rooted in God, I'd end up building a relationship on sand instead of rock. Somehow, I continued searching for love, but God gently reminded me that I was supposed to be seeking Him. So I began my journey back to finding my spiritual place in authority, which was lost in my teenage life. If you haven't watched the episode where I talked about how I drifted away from God, please do. The link is at the comment section. I asked God to transform my heart. Psalm 51:10 became my prayer. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. God began to reveal areas in my life that needed healing, places where bitterness, insecurity, and selfishness had taken root. I spent time in prayer and fasting, asking God to refine me into the person He wanted me to be, not just for a future partner, but for His glory. One of the biggest lessons was learning emotional maturity, as I was deep in self-blame and blaming others. Most importantly, my parents for failing to guide me on my choice of relationship. I wanted a relationship that felt like fireworks, such written in fairy tale. But God had to teach me that true love isn't found in a fairy tale, and that a healthy relationship isn't two halves becoming whole. It's two wholes becoming holy. 1 Corinthians 13:11 tells us to put the ways of childhood behind us when we become adults. I had to let go of immature behaviors and perspectives to grow into someone who could sustain a Christ-centered relationship, meaning that I had to stop blaming others for my past failures and take responsibility for my actions.
You're working hard, you're running fast, chasing dreams that never
God taught me patience. There were times I felt ready, but He showed me that being ready is about being willing to wait for His best. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Waiting on the Lord to find love can often feel like walking through a dense, endless fog, every moment longing for a light to break through. In the process, tears can become your nightly lullaby, a bittersweet song that lulls you to restless sleep. And when morning comes, depression might greet you like an unwelcome guest at your breakfast table. Its presence as heavy as a rain-soaked coat you can't seem to shrug off. It's like tending a garden that doesn't seem to bloom. Every day you water the soil with your prayers, only to see empty earth staring back. You wonder if you're doing something wrong or if the seeds will ever sprout. The waiting can feel like trying to read a book in the dark, turning pages, hoping for answers, but unable to make sense of the words until God flips the light switch. Yet, even in the heartache, there's a quiet lesson unfolding. The tears that tuck you in at night soften the soil of your soul, preparing it for the seeds of grace. The weight of depression in the morning can become the resistance that strengthens your spiritual muscles, forcing you to look unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith.
I don't need riches, don't need gold, just hearts that
Hebrews 12:2. Waiting on the Lord is less about standing still and more like learning to dance in a storm. It's about realizing that while you're focused on the love you desire, He's focused on shaping the love you are. Over time, you come to see that the fog isn't endless. It's a veil, and behind it, God is crafting a love story so profound that when the first rays of His timing break through, every tear and trial will glisten like diamonds in the morning sun. Waiting became a time of preparation, not punishment. In the process of waiting, it's crucial to remain watchful, because Satan often comes disguised as an angel of light, ready to deceive you into believing he's sent by God. His tricks are subtle but devastating, often starting with love bombing, a whirlwind of flattery, grand gestures, and false promises designed to sweep you off your feet before you see the cracks in his facade. If you're not rooted in discernment, this counterfeit love can feel divine, but it's a trap meant to lead you away from God's will. Be vigilant. Pray for wisdom and look for the fruits of the Spirit in every interaction, because God's love always aligns with His truth. And if you haven't watched my video on red flags to look out for, Check the link in the description box. It might just save you from heartbreak.
You're working hard, you're running fast, chasing dreams that never.
Finally, Colossians 2:10 reminds us that we are already complete in Christ. This means that a godly relationship isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about two people reflecting God's love to each other and the world. Are you ready to prepare your heart for a godly relationship? It starts with surrendering your desires to God and allowing Him to shape you. As you wait, trust that His timing is perfect and His plans are good. Thank you for joining me for episode 9 of Awakened Pursuit. In our final episode, we'll talk about forgiving myself and embracing new beginnings, a critical step for moving forward in God's grace. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss this transformative conclusion. Remember, God is preparing you for something beautiful.
Spend time with me, don't rush away. I'm here to walk with you each day. I don't need riches, don't need gold, just hearts that seek, just hands to hold.